Welcome to Co-op Mode, round 49. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I'm your host, Todd Oxtra, joined by producer extraordinaire, the Canardian, Mark Carabin. How you doing, bud?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. It was exciting, and I'm very excited because I'm going to talk about what I did, but I want to introduce some beautiful people, though, before I do that, Mark. We are joined, actually, by a couple. So this is the co-op couch is growing now. We had to get like one of those sectionals.
We're definitely needing a sectional now.
Exactly. Maybe it pulls out
chairs or something next to it.
The fancy ones with cup holders, maybe power outlets. All down. We're in it to be comfortable and social, but socially distanced. So it's big enough, 6 feet apart. You know, it's huge. It's the biggest sectional in the world. But I want to introduce these folks because they are very special people that do special and cool things. And the first time that we have had two people on as guests, and they represent a very special group, but I'm going to let them explain that. We've got Becky Navarro and Lee Navarro. Couple extraordinary.
Hi.
Thanks, guys.
I'm back.
Lee's back.
Happy to be here.
So, guys, and Becky, before we tell everybody about what you guys do, Becky, you're new. So give us your geek elevator pitch, or your geek origin, as it would be, on how you became a geek.
Let's see. That really has to go back to the fact that my father was always a geek. So I was brought up on extreme geekiness between anything NASA related and also computers, because he was a programmer. And way back in the day, before anybody really had personal computers in their house, we had one. It was DOS. We played video games together. And that was really my entrance to geekdom, was learning the form and function of the early days of PC through the programming perspective, and playing, well, Wolfenstein at an age that probably was not appropriate.
9. Oh, sorry. Right? Was that the extent of the sound effects in that game?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. And the quick closing doors that were just, I still remember it to this day. Yes.
Dogs, bullets, and
those poor dogs.
Yeah. Oh man.
Cyber Nazis. Very cool. Yeah, that's awesome. We got parents that we can raise us right, and hopefully you guys are raising geeks. Mark's raising geeks. I've raised a geek who's more into PC than I ever thought he would be. So he's a good kid. But my connection to you is Ray and I played Destiny the Alpha. And somehow through that, I've never played with a rando before, but Ray and I connected. And then that's how he connected me to you, Lee, and your team. And you had me on your podcast back in the day.
Yes, we've we've had you on at least a couple times. And, I've been on a few of your podcasts. I remember about a year or so ago, I was subbing for Mr. Carabin there while he was on vacation in Disney, I believe. So you brought me in. And
that was
a little over a year ago. And then I believe we also did something around the time that the Switch was being unveiled. That was with a few others. So we go a long ways, Mr. Oxtra. We've had a lot of podcasting together.
Yes, and something Becky and I have in common. We're both married to two beautiful Filipino women.
Yes.
Well, listen. I downloaded this app. It was like a face app thing that converted you from like male to female and everything. And I applied all the settings and everything, and I showed it to Becky. I go, my God, I'm so beautiful. I mean, it was just outrageously amazing how gorgeous I looked. I said, I'm a top 10 model if you ever, that was real. So
so you can start moonlighting, doing some catfishing if you ever get really bored. Yeah.
My friend was telling me I should start up an OnlyFans with that image. I said, I don't think that's gonna go over well.
I'm sure you could pull it off.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, might be illegal in some countries, but
possibly.
Before we move on, we want to talk about a friend that's we all know and is very close to us, and that is Bobby Pauls. So, Mark, give people an update on what's going on with Bobby.
So, Bobby is currently in the hospital with COVID. Basically, is I guess the long and short of it, he has been in there since November, I want to say 1st or 2nd, I believe. We've been getting updates from his niece, Ashlyn, sorry. And that's basically it. We're taking it kind of one day at a time, hoping that some updates come through. Basically, he's stable and there's small improvements every day, but we're just kind of keeping our fingers crossed and sending out hopes, prayers, whatever you feel like doing, positive energy, whatever it is. But there's also a GoFundMe, so a little bit of support for Bobby. He does a lot of stuff for a lot of people. So Ashlyn set up this GoFundMe. She set a pretty low goal at first. It blew past that goal. She set another goal. It blew past that goal. And right now, as of time of recording, it's a little over $6,000, which is incredible. And I know Bobby will be very, very happy to see that when he gets out. So to anyone that has donated, thank you. To anyone who is thinking about it, thank you as well. And to anyone that can't, keep Bobby in your thoughts. Like I said, pray if you do. Just send that positive energy, because Bobby is a fantastic guy who's brought a lot of people together and a lot of joy to a lot of people. And I know I wouldn't be in the same kind of podcasting space if it weren't for Bobby. So yeah, just can't wait to get that first text for him when he's back out. So yeah.
Just as an anecdote, actually, to Bobby, I met him last year at Extra Life up here in Rome, New York, and meeting him was like just seeing your friend like that you've already met before, not in person. He was just so natural, so easygoing, so wonderful. And it was just such a pleasure to meet him. I wish we could have spent a little bit more time together, but he drove up on the day of Extra Life after working 6 hours, drove the 5.5 hours up here and showed up. And I mean, he was just such a pleasure to meet. And we got to see him again the next day, and I was just so ecstatic to have finally met him. But at the same time, it also felt just so normal and so natural that he was there. So when we heard about it, our hearts sunk, but we definitely have kept him in our prayers and our thoughts, and are hoping that he recovers well and recovers quickly from this.
Absolutely, and especially because I need somebody to take Lee off my hands one day so I can get better.
Yeah, there's no one I love driving as crazy as Bobby. And anyone who's listened to his guest appearances on this show or any kind of collaboration, we pick on each other like brothers, and that's how I consider Bobby. So, yeah, speedy recovery, my friend.
If you can just send him a note on Twitter, watch his stuff, because he is a great talent, and we miss you, buddy. So get better, get healthy, and come back on the show so we can make fun of you too. So with that, folks, this is a video game podcast. Man, sometimes I forget that, but we've probably been playing some games, hopefully. So Becky, what have you been playing?
Oh, well, it's been all over the place. I think my biggest game lately that I've been playing is Graphic Design Simulator. So that's because I've been doing a lot of graphics lately, constantly for so many different things. Like, that has been my main game lately. No, but in all seriousness,
I thought that was a real game, like game development simulator. You know what? Because there's so many of those. I was like, I kind of need to hear about this, but okay, all right, no, it's just legit. All right.
Sorry. Old shout out back to Nerd Overdrive days of all that stuff. But a lot of Brawlhalla has been a big one. Among Us, nothing too overly serious. I tried jumping onto PC Building Simulator actually during Extra Life, but because of that whole Steam sharing thing and some updates that were being done, I wasn't able to really get into it until Lee passed out, and by then I was too exhausted. Ghost of Tsushima, I've been doing remote play on my PC. I guess we'll talk about that once we get to the next section a little bit more. And it's been a lot of, little mobile games because we've been so crazy lately. It's just like sitting down to actually play a game is sometimes a little much when you don't have that dedicated time and you just don't want to get interrupted.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you play on the toilet.
Yeah.
To escape the kids.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah. Little dice games, really stupid games of the mom break hiding in the bathroom. Except now we've got 2 dogs invading the bathroom on top of it. So,
Well, my
Don't
son is
stop.
playing Puzzles and Dragons constantly, even though he has access to every other console, so I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need to chill out and play Alto's Adventure. That's that's such a zen game. If you guys haven't played it, just if you need that mental break, just play that, and it's so great.
Or the Garbage Pail Kids app.
Or that, that.
Yes.
Look at disgusting babies, or play a very zen snowboarding game. Whatever you guys want to do to relax.
Either is good. Lee, what about you, bud? What have you been playing?
Let's see. I have had such game ADD because I just got a 49-inch ultra wide monitor. So it's so basically I've been trying every single thing that I could throw at it just to see if I could break my PC somehow. Everything's been handling just perfectly. Forza Horizons was, oh my God, like just the general immersion of a 5120 by 1440p panel was just outrageous. Because this thing is, HDR 1000 with a 1000R curve. I mean, it simulates the human eye in terms of its like curvature. So, Forza, I did. I was playing the Division 2 just because it's one of my favorites as one of my favorite shooters. Ghost Recon Wildlands, just to see like what these environments look like with this panel. Just that's been my main thing. World of Warcraft was in there, StarCraft 2 was in there, Diablo 3 was in there. All of these games, like I said, severe game ADD, one after another. I'd play something for maybe half an hour, 40 minutes, and then I'd switch over to something else, and not really making any progress in any of them, but just kind of going around and just enjoying the environment as a whole. So yeah, that's been my gaming my gaming ADD the past couple of weeks.
I forgot about StarCraft. That was something that I totally forgot to mention. Lee brought me over to the dark side.
Yeah,
just when they're closing it down and not creating any more content. Perfect timing.
It's her first time playing StarCraft ever in any
Wow.
game. So I was like teaching her like how to play Terran and what to do. And then we also had our son who was really invested into it, trying to like really learn it. And so one evening after work, I come home and they're telling me, all right, get in your computer. We're playing StarCraft. Okay. Are we playing as a whole team, or no, we're going to take on you, the two of us?
Oh, wow. Rush.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't very pretty.
No.
That's amazing.
I created a situation where my son's PC actually crashed because of the number of units that I pumped out.
Yes.
Wow.
Original Star Trek?
I had
StarCraft, or is it
StarCraft
2? Okay.
StarCraft 2. I ended up putting out, I think it was close to 75 Ultralisks on him, and then it just like went into his base, and he goes, "How'd you do that?" I'm fast, and you gave me time.
Amazing.
Yeah, so that was
no easy mode in your house. I guess that's
no. There is no easy mode. When he tried to play me in hockey one time, he was like, "All right." And I told him, "Do you want me to take it easy?" Or he was like, "No, just play." I'm like, "Okay." 3 periods later, it was like 31-0. I'm going, next.
And then he started practicing and figuring things out.
He did. He actually scored like 6 goals on me one game, and I said, "Good job, kid." He goes, "Yeah, but you still scored like 40. I'm going, "I know, but still, you put 6 on
something.
me."
Yeah. You guys you need super blood hockey, so even if he can't score on you, he can permanently cripple your players.
Right.
And hit you with
which
his
he
Zamboni.
did.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
One of his slap shots hit my created player in the face, knocked me out for the whole game. I said, "Well, fine. You know what? You're gonna do that? Okay. I'm pulling my goalie. I'm just going 6-on-5 the whole game."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The sun
mercy.
the son must defeat the father, and that's where I'm at right now with the 15-year-old. It's just not even a competition. So I just give in and enjoy it. So you got a few more years, Lee.
I know, and that's the thing. I said I'm waiting for that day where the student defeats the master.
Oh, it'll come. It'll come.
I know. I'm waiting for that day.
That's getting riskier with Todd's house though, because he's got a little martial artist there. So if Todd beats him in a video game, he's getting a roundhouse kick to the face. So I think it's like let the kid win in Mario Kart and maybe not lose some teeth. I don't know. Todd, you're in a tricky situation right up there, bud.
I absolutely am, but I am an imposing figure at 5'4", so I'll just use my stature to maintain it. Although,
hey, listen, it works for Wolverine, bud.
That's right. Yeah,
Todd, we're the same height.
Yay!
You're like a giant all of a sudden.
I know. Yeah, my son's taller than me now, though, so he probably took after my dad, which is good. But yeah. So, Mark, you've been playing a game I have been playing as well.
Yeah, sadly, I've not been playing it where I wanted to play it, but so we'll talk a little bit about new consoles later, I think, but not spoiler alerts maybe. But I still don't have my Series X. It is a week after launch right now, and it should be here tomorrow. But as of right now, I'm still playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla on my Xbox One. And it's a base Xbox One, so I'm not even on the One X. So it's still a very pretty game. It still runs pretty well, but I've been also holding back on playing too much of the game because I want to experience that game fully on the Series X when it arrives. So yeah, basically I put up a little review over on thecanardian.com, and I think the plan now, because I really wanted to have kind of a full review ready for this and talk about the full game and whatever. So I think what I might do, and Todd, we kind of chatted about this briefly earlier. I might make like a special bonus episode of the podcast or something, and just kind of take my written review and maybe, talk a little bit about it, and post that up. So that would be the first time I think we've done a separate bonus review, but now that we have our own solo feed, I think maybe that's a good place to put that out. It'll also be, a written review up at like I said, thecanardian.com. And anyway, that's all I'll say about that for now. But I'm really enjoying this game. I love the series. This is in a lot of ways kind of reminding me of Black Flag, where you have this protagonist who is already a badass, already this kind of like fearsome guy or girl, or mixed if you choose to let the animus decide, which I am doing. And it's but it's also kind of a continuation of the last two games, Origins and Odyssey, where it's leaning more towards RPG elements. This one, in a lot of ways, even more so. So it's for me, a fan of the series since day one. It's cool to see the game progress, but if you've skipped a couple, maybe you haven't played one since Black Flag, and you try to get into this, you're going to be a little thrown off, I think. Todd, let's maybe at this point get a few insights from you. How's your time with the game so far?
I'm very early on, but I was surprised how quickly they let you know, the Animus still exists, because I didn't know if it still exists or not, because I have not really dipped too deep into Assassin's Creed. I've tried a couple and didn't catch me. I tried Origin, which once I started to have to like be stealthy, I said nope, because I was spending my time trying to hide. Odyssey, I played a little bit more. I enjoyed a little bit more, but I got overwhelmed very quickly, and I haven't gone back to it. Mm-hmm. And this feels a lot like Odyssey, but to your point, Mark, one of the things they even let you do is basically choose your difficulty in like the three more main parts of the game. Exploration. Do you want a lot of dots on your map or not very many? Stealth. Do you want to basically have dumb guards or get caught out of the corner of somebody's eye? And I think the other one's combat. So I chose stealthy, lots of dots on the map, and then just standard combat. So, and I chose the Animus decides which sex she'll be, and I'm enjoying it quite a bit. It's fun. And I tell you, it's funny. The female Ivor. Are you the same name, Ivor, regardless of sex?
Yeah.
Okay. Her voice reminds me of like Christian Bale in Batman, where she kind of talks like this. It's like
it does feel forced a little bit at points. There's other points that it feels like she's not forcing. It feels more natural, and she kind of lets go. But at those points, sometimes she'll drop the accent. So I'm kind of I am kind of torn on the voice acting because some of the characters are really, really good, but like you said, the female Ivor is a little off-putting at some junctures.
Yeah, it's very it's a little too much. Much. But the other thing I think is a loss, and you can probably comment more on this, but in Odyssey, what I liked was you could be the bird and then mark like enemies and things. They got rid of that, so that was a very odd decision.
Yeah, I really thought my game was broken or I was doing something wrong when you first send your Raven up, because in Origins or whatever, it was so easy, and the bird was so helpful and helped you spot targets and see through buildings, and just it was like a very helpful eagle. It was great.
Drone.
Yeah, it was a drone basically, and this one's just kind of like, yeah, here, fly your crow up for a minute, and there might be something over there. I don't know. It's like eagles are so majestic and useful, and crows are kind of like, yeah, whatever. Do whatever you want.
Poop on you eventually.
Like, just I don't.
That's all the crow wants to do is just poop on people.
Yeah, it's like a crow's just like, I don't care, whatever, man. There's probably something over there. I don't care, whatever. Feed me something. I'm just gonna caw at you. So yeah, it's weird. They've just kind of like taken away the usefulness. But for some reason I still like flying the crow around.
Yeah, you can mark things.
Yeah, you can kind of mark where you're going or see kind of a general direction of maybe where you should be or an interest point is, but it's incredibly broad. And maybe, I don't know, I have it on kind of like normal settings for everything. So like you said, you have dots increased. I thought maybe that would help the crow, but that's not the case.
It's a little overwhelming because then there's just too much stuff to see. It's like, there's 5 million things pointing up. So I'm like, maybe that was a bad idea. I think you can adjust anywhere in the game, but I like that. But I'm also playing this on PS5. So GameFly sent the game. I put the disc in, and it was so cool because automatically it says, hey, you get a free PS5 upgrade. I'm like, thank you. I'll take that. Commence the 43 gigabyte download. Yeah, which is, I guess, it's very common with a lot of these games. Like I think it was the Master Chief Collection. One of the games, I forgot what it was. It was like, oh no, Gears 5. That's what it was. It was like, oh yeah, blow this upgraded. Enjoy your 120 gigabyte download. Yeah. So
I had to laugh at the PS Trophy Room. Kyle, I think, said on a fairly recent episode something about like going physical, like the benefits of going physical. I was like, oh honey, no. That's like just straight up not going to be a thing this generation. Like to take advantage of the SSD, you're not going to be able to get those read speeds.
Actually, it doesn't read the disc at all. The disc is just.
I was going to say, it's going to be a faster download.
It's just DRM.
So DRM, faster download of assets, I'd say that depending on your internet speed.
Yes, it's going to basically be it's installing off the Blu-ray, so that's the one thing that's faster than downloading most likely for that piece. But yeah, any updates are going to come digital. So yeah, we're on the boat. So, but my benefit is I can get games from GameFly for free essentially. I don't have to pay the $60. If I don't like a game, I can send it back. So that's one of my benefits. But it was kind of cool to see that. It looks cool. This game though, I don't know if it's done any like. I'm still learning with PS5, and I'll go into this a little bit later. But I'm not 100% clear. Like some games have performance and fidelity modes and things like that. This game doesn't seem like it has it. It's just like it's everything. Boom, here you go.
Right.
It doesn't let you choose. It just goes full.
Yeah, and I PS5 can't do the 4K 60 or whatever.
It can. It's not native, but ultimately, I really think that parsing of native versus that nobody's eyes can tell.
Yeah, it's shenanigans. It's definitely marketing shenanigans. Like I said, on a basic Xbox One, this game is still beautiful. Absolutely. I've been like climbing, scaling mountains, and just like stopping on the side of the mountain. Very, very happy it doesn't have a getting tired mode like Breath of the Wild did, because I just straight up fall to my death constantly because I keep just spinning the camera around being like, damn, this is beautiful. But like I would straight up just like Eivor would be dead so many times over. just by looking at the vistas. It's spectacular. Lee, Becky, do you guys have any experience with the Assassin's Creed franchise? Are you fans? Are you anticipating this game? Do you plan on picking it up? Or
I have. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just about to say, I'm not much of an AC person. Like, I've seen all the games. I thought they were awesome. Like Todd, I'm not a stealthy type of person at all. I'm more of the bum Russian and just kill stuff.
That's how I've been playing this. It's just like you can sneak in or you can attack. And I'm like, oh, no, dual wield axes. Let's go.
Yeah. So I've been very interested just because of course, scenery, like you were mentioning, the time period things. You know, of course, if anybody watches Vikings or anything like that, obviously this is the game for you. So, yeah, I've been interested in that regard versus Lee, which he'll tell you.
I've played ever since the first AC. I've been playing. I've played them all on PC at this point. So I remember the first AC was I was sitting in my bedroom in my mom's house and trying to install the game from the slower internet that I used to have that day because it was all digital and everything. But that was my love affair with it, like right from the very beginning, just because of the historical time period and the nature of the whole thing. Really, I'm a history buff, and it is one of the most fascinating things about the AC series is that it brings you to these time periods that no other games really have ventured into. When was the last time we had an Egyptian time period game, or aside from God of War, Greek time period?
Absolutely.
In this case, Vikings, I can't even recall a game of this nature. I mean, yeah, we had like what was that game that Blizzard did years ago? I can't remember. There was
Rune. There was a game called Rune. There was another.
Like that.
There's been some.
But you guys, wait, you don't consider Lost Vikings for the Super Nintendo historically?
That's the one I was.
The one.
Okay. No, that's okay.
No, I don't believe that's historically accurate.
Oh man,
maybe.
My childhood's ruined now. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I just disappointed my birthday twin.
Oh, that was the good old days when they were making Blackthorn as well. Come on, bring those days of Blizzard back.
But I am very intrigued, and I have that Ubisoft Plus subscription service. So, I'm definitely going to be installing this to. I can't wait to see it on here.
Yeah,
this is going to be going to be nuts.
Yeah,
it's going to be absolutely nuts. It's definitely, from what I've seen on the console space, at the very least, it does have a very beautiful graphical fidelity. So, for how I'm going to play it on here at 100 plus frames per second, it's just going to be very, very smooth and very nice to play.
Nice.
Good thing you just got some upgrades.
Yeah. I was going to say, I'm not sure what engine this is on, but I'm thinking, what I'm hopeful is these next-gen consoles, along with PC where it's going, will get new engines that I don't feel like this game is taking advantage of next gen. I think it's better looking. I wasn't blown away. I think it's going to be the next game where they can say, we're going to leave behind these old pieces of hardware and we're going to go forward, and then everybody can take advantage from the ground floor of all these cool, convenient features. So I can't wait for that.
I think they used that Anvil engine on it. That's the one that they had from all the way from like Unity still. From AC Unity and Syndicate. So definitely I think engine wise we're looking at a lot of these developers are going to look future forward now that we've got these next gen consoles, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, but we've got hardware manufacturers for PCs that are just leaps and bounds now, just going nuts with what they're doing. So absolutely, I think we're looking at definitely an elevation in terms of graphical fidelity to a different level.
Mark, another game you've been playing looks interesting. It's a brand new game, and I've been hearing good things about it.
Yeah, so The Pathless just came out on PS4, PS5, PC, I believe, and the way I've been playing it is Apple Arcade. There's for once, not my dog barking.
I was going to say, not my dog either.
So happy right now because it's always my dog. The Pathless is it's giving me Breath of the Wild type vibes, where it just kind of drops you into the world, you're set to kind of go out. You can see a couple of beacons and a couple of little things throughout your view, I guess, your small view. You find out pretty quickly, and you're kind of just tasked with going around, finding what's out there, and making a path. You're the pathless, but you have to kind of make your own path. And at first, all you have is a bow and arrow. There are some targets and stuff, and you kind of learn as you go what the different moves are. But it's a pretty limited move set that you can kind of start stringing together. Like I just kind of accidentally discovered that if you're in the air when you shoot one of the target enemy things, you actually kind of get this like cool boost thing. So as you learn that, then you go, oh, maybe I can get over there using this technique, or maybe I can do that. So basically, yeah, you eventually find this person or thing. The God Slayer, I believe, is the name of that. And some things happen. I'm not going to get into spoiler territory because this is a great game and I think you should play it. But you also get a little bird helper who is much more helpful than the arsehole crows that you find in Valhalla. This one actually will lift things up for you and will lift you up, and you can kind of glide. And as you collect more things, you can do kind of double jumps, like you can hold on to the bird and then he'll go up a little bit, or she, whatever. But anyway, it is a cool game. I'm pretty early so far. Like I said, it just came out Friday on Apple Arcade and PS4, PS5. I think PC. I should have double checked that one, but anyway, it's really cool, and I like that I just play it anywhere. So I've been playing it on my iPad. I played it on my phone a little bit at my parents' place over the weekend, and I've been playing it on the Apple TV 4K. One problem I've noticed with the Apple TV is frame rate drops. So I'm hoping that's not the same. I didn't experience that on any other platform, and it was only once on the Apple TV that it got really severe. I'm guessing that's because most of Apple TV stuff is streaming or something, but it was a weird little hiccup. But yeah, not too bad. It's cool. If you have Apple Arcade, there's no reason not to download it. But yeah, definitely consider picking it up on another platform.
So I'm sorry, this is totally, because we're really good at this, bringing it off topic. With Apple Arcade, what's your opinion on it? Because we're actually going to get Apple One as of December 1st. And that's been something that I've been really kind of interested in exploring, especially considering all the different services that are out there. I mean, it's a little crazy to the level of stuff that, you have to subscribe for now. What's the big sell with Apple Arcade? Like, what have you found is the big thing, obviously, besides being an awesome Apple user?
With Apple Arcade, there's been a few games that I've really gotten hooked on, like Grindstone is one of them. What the Golf I thought was absolutely hilarious. Sneaky Sasquatch was delightful.
That was hilarious to play. I played that on my
game.
Apple on my Apple TV.
Yeah. Oceanhorn 2, I thought, again, like kind of, Zelda-ish vibes, but a very different way than this one. So yeah, for me, I'm forgetting something that I just played too. Oh, Exit the Gungeon. That was another great one. I mean, it's not, phone games aren't something that I'm always playing, but like you said, every once in a while, you don't want to sit there at your TV, at a console, at a PC, whatever. I've had Apple Arcade for a bit because again, it's one of those subscription things that I find the value. If I play a new game once a month or once every couple of months, it's worth the $5. But now with Apple One, I mean, it's kind of built in. So depending on which services you want to subscribe to, you either get it for free or you're already willing to pay for Apple Arcade. So in my case with Apple One, I kind of consider myself getting, Fitness Plus and News for free, because I'm not paying anything more for Apple One than I was paying before, with all my with Apple Music, like the family plan. I had the 2 terabyte iCloud drive storage tier already. And whatever else, like I was already paying that, whatever, like $30 something a month. So now, I'm getting all of those services for the exact same price. So I'm, it's definitely not the best service. And I kind of resent Apple for handicapping or, just straight up killing other streaming platforms, but having Apple Arcade. But, you download each one individually. So, it's a decent service. Right. One thing I like about it is the trust factor, I suppose. What I mean by that is I can trust that Apple Arcade games aren't going to be gotcha games just waiting for my money or my, buy 10 gems for $20. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that. And with Apple Arcade games, that you're paying the subscription, so you're not going to get that kind of bullshit, which ticks me off all the time. So that to
makes me happy.
Well,
right.
listen, that's only been a couple games that I have racked up some serious spending
We've
with.
all done it. We've all experienced that. So that to me is the biggest draw probably for Apple Arcade is I know that if I'm looking for something mindless, stupid on my phone or iPad or wherever, and you get that, cross save capabilities as well. But that's the big one for me is I'm not going to be bugged and pestered for like, hey, I know you want to get to the next level really quick, but buy $20 worth of stupid gems and maybe you'll get a chance. Not going to happen. So that's the big selling point for me.
That's such a good.
Oh, shut up, dear.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, those pesky teenagers, spending all that microtransactions. Don't want that happening.
Those teenagers, those pesky teenagers that I have none of except for this other adult that I live with.
We've all been there. It's okay.
100%. Yeah, it happens.
Yes,
it does.
Yeah, so moving on, I'm going to give a little background on the PS5. So I'll tell you a story about a man named Console Claus, who somehow was able to pre-order everything, 4 PlayStation 5s, 1 digital, the rest disc-based, 1 Xbox Series S, and 1 Xbox Series X. I ended up finally ending up with just the 4 PlayStations because I realized
what was that all?
I know, that's all. But the good news is all the other PlayStations are going to friends. So that's the good thing. 3 of the 4 arrived on launch day, 2 from Sony, 1 from Target, and then the digital arrived last. And it's really one of the and I canceled the S because I'm like, I don't really need the S. And I'm like, man, I wish I should have held on to that because I'm sure somebody could have used it. And then the X, it was so funny because the X was for another friend, but it was like Amazon gave me this console may arrive by December 31st. I'm like, and then they said, let us know by December 10th if you still want. I'm like, screw you, Amazon. My friend got one from Costco and actually it arrived today. So Mark, he got that system ordered on Friday and is getting it today. I don't know what was going on with this launch. It really doesn't make any sense. People are getting PS5s with discs for free rather than the digital one for some reason. It makes no sense. It's so bizarre, but it's like it's a bonus, I guess. My guess is PlayStation made very few of the digital based because they were going to take it in the pants. They said, you know what, sub people out. People will probably be happy, even though they're getting the booty version because it's got a very fine booty. If you look at it critically, it sticks out curves. It definitely does. So yeah, I mean, I got mine on launch day. I really enjoyed it. The setup was very easy, but they had some different things. I was like, oh, this is surprising. 2 points authentication, which is kind of cool. So you can use your phone for security. And other than that, it was really fast. I mean, my user base showed up. It was probably 5 minutes total. That was it. Boots up very fast. My HDMI is the slowest thing. My HDMI wouldn't switch over. It was slower than my console because I have a switch for my HDMI because I only have one HDMI 2.0 port on my TV. But I have multiple devices that are 4K 60, HDR, and all that fun stuff. So I have a HDMI 2 switch, which takes care of everything, which is great. But because when you do that, the switch, there's delays to get HDMI. It sucks, right. But it's what you do when you upgraded your TV in 2016. because you were dumb.
So it's time for a new TV, is what you're saying.
That's how they get
My
you.
wife would not say that, and she would kill me, so that's okay.
Wait, she let you order 16 PS4s and 18 Xboxes, but you won't let you buy a new TV?
Well,
Something's not adding up there.
It's okay. She didn't yell at me, so she knows it's all coming back. But other than that, it was great. One of the things that is cool because it shows your PlayStation library, just like Xbox, it shows all your games on PS Plus. It shows every game on PS Plus I own. It shows all the games on PS Now that'll play, and it'll also show, I forgot what else. It shows some other stuff too. Lots of games. I'm overwhelmed by games. So many games there. It shows you which are, and you can search by, PlayStation 5 games, PlayStation 4 games, whatever, PlayStation 3 games. Very cool. Works really well. I got 2 DualSenses. It's awesome. But man, oh man, you cannot find any of these accessories. The camera sold out. The charger sold out. The media remote sold out. So good luck with that. But yeah, the system is a beast. It's huge. It's wide. Well, it's tall. But I have mine horizontally because my media center is not tall enough for any console, quite honestly. The Switch is the only one I can do vertically because my shelves are like 8 inches tall, so it won't fit anything. So everything's going sideways, perfectly fine with that. My console's not wide enough to put anything by the side because my TV is 65 inches and takes up the length or the width of that. So the system's got to go on the shelving, which is fine. It's completely open. It's a glass, 3-tiered. Works great. Love it. All my things are there. I put my mini consoles next to my PlayStation 5, so it looks like it's eating them, like the big fish eats the little fishes. So it's very fun.
It's seriously just Godzilla going after Tokyo at this point. It's an amazing setup to see.
Yeah, and it's fine. I mean, like I said, once it's there, I don't even notice it. And if you're looking at your console, you're doing it wrong. Don't look at your console. It's just a box that does your thing. And I did say this: if the PlayStation 5 was the reverse, black in the outside, white in the middle, like an Oreo, I think it would get less notice. But with that white, it's so stark and bright.
I want them to put that review on the box of the PS5. It's just a box that does the thing.
That's the thing.
That's our review. 6 out of 6.
There's something I saw online today on Facebook, and they took the head of they had the PlayStation standing vertical. And if anybody knows from the show Yu-Gi-Oh, Seto Kaiba's head was popped on top of it, and it looked exactly like the way his whatever he's wearing in that show. And I'm going, that's actually legit. That looks like him. And it was hysterical. I just could not stop laughing when I saw that while I was at work today.
You got to love that the PlayStation designer said he actually wanted to make it bigger, but the engineers got so mad at him. What are you doing? I like things that are cool. But he actually has embraced all the memes. He thinks it's funny. It's a very seamless system. I've tried the backwards compatibility. It works great. I had Crash Bandicoot 4. I got an external SSD that's USB because I wanted to transfer things back and forth very quickly if I needed to. I don't have to worry about that right now because PlayStation's not letting us. So basically, only thing you can do off of the USB right now is play and store PS4 games. PS5 games do not. I'm expecting that to be an upgrade because PlayStation 4 didn't get USB support until 2 years after the system launched. So these things, day one, they're going to change. If you have these things for 5 days, it's going to be okay.
0 days.
Exactly. So as of right now, yeah, exactly. 0 days. Mark, you're at minus whatever. Waiting. Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot, but really quickly, I just want to touch on some of the games I've put some time into. Astrobot, this is the game that comes with the system. It's essentially a demo for the DualSense. And I tell you, this game is wonderful. It is a fantastic platformer. It is so clever, so funny, embraces the DualSense. It's a good platformer. It's so much fun. This is by the same team that made the Rescue Bot Adventure on PlayStation VR. They know what they're doing. It's wonderful. The homage to PlayStation, all the systems, the memory cards and everything. It's hilarious. I love it. And it's a 5-hour game. So it's essentially a real game, and it's for free. So it's like, why not? And it's wonderful. So definitely check that out. It's a game that comes for free. Just play it. You'll enjoy it. It's so just wonderful, especially if children. I think you'll enjoy that. The next game was Bug Snacks. This is PS Plus. It's free. I think at least this month and maybe next month as well. This game is so goofy and just silly and fun. And I love it. I just think it's a sense of humor. It's kind of like a Pokemon Snap meets Pokemon that's first person. You capture these bug snacks, can feed them to people, and then they turn into these bug snacks. It's so weird. The sense of humor is funny. Basically, you're an investigator trying to figure out if the bug snacks are real or not. So your editor's like Jonah Jameson and getting mad at you. It's just wonderful. It's just a fun game. Normally $25 on PC. There's a lot of fun family games on PlayStation. I mean, along with Sackboy, which I did not play, which is also on both. It's, an exclusive to Sony, but it's on both systems. But once again, that's a 4-player co-op, like Mario Land 3D World is kind of what people have compared it to. And they finally fixed the platforming. It's not horrible anymore. Like, they made it a real platform. People are saying it's really good. That's there as well. And then the last game, which is the first game I actually played, which was Miles Morales. This is the sequel to Spider-Man, but this is Miles' standalone story. Spoilers, Miles is at the very end of Spider-Man. He shows up, and now you're playing him, and you've taken the reins of Spider-Man as he goes to Europe, apparently. So you're taking over, and I tell you, this game, it's beautiful. It can definitely be played on PS4 because it's out on PS4. But what they did to where it plays on PS5, the people said this is the best ray tracing they've seen in a game. It's beautiful. It definitely plays it up. And you can play the game in 2 different ways, fidelity and performance. Most people are playing in fidelity because it's the way it plays, I think, makes sense. But it's all the bells and whistles, 30 frames per second. But you can play it at performance, which is, I think they turn off ray tracing and everything, do 60. But the original Spider-Man was at 30, I believe. So, but regardless, and I will tell you, this game has one of the best soundtracks. Just starting off, it just feels like Enter the Spider-Verse, where the soundtrack is part of the game. So it really feels like it's a compelling story with Miles. And if you really like Spider-Man, this is just taking up a notch because you've got Spider-Man's powers, but you also have Miles' powers, and his electricity are so cool. I'm just blown away. I think it's a great game. Regardless if you're playing on a PS4 or PS5, you'll have a great time. Eventually, if you get a PS5, that PS4 game will work on PS5, and you get the upgrade for free. So PlayStation 5, it's whisper quiet, doesn't run hot. The time I heard it get a little loud was the disc that install. Discs are still very loud, regardless of whatever you do.
Still have to spin.
They still have to spin. But once it's done, because I also got this on disc, once it's done, the disc doesn't move. It's just there for DRM, as Lee had mentioned. So it's there to play. But yeah, I think it's an awesome game. Definitely worth it. It's $50. But I mean, from what I've heard, the game's about 10 hours long. So that's more like Lost Legacy Uncharted, which was also a lesser priced game. But it's definitely not just a side game. So definitely check it out.
I haven't even picked up that game, but I just downloaded the soundtrack because you just talked it up.
It's cool. Yeah. It's funny. I didn't realize Will Smith's son does a song.
Yeah, Jaden, I'm ready.
He's back after he was the Karate Kid.
Yeah, that was the first one that popped up. I was like, okay, all right, check this out.
All right. Well, that's it for what we've been playing, guys. We'll talk about Xbox Series X most like next episode. Hopefully, Mark, we will.
Yeah. I know I am getting it tomorrow. So my delivery update says it's in town unless something severe happens. My big fear right now, and I'll see if you guys think I'm being a little extra, which I definitely am. But we'll so I want to leave a note on my door because like I'll go to work tomorrow, but like obviously my wife's home with the baby. But the post guys around here are so bad at just like if they don't see a car, they just like leave the little sticker on the door being like, yeah, you can pick this up tomorrow, like middle fingers all around, and then they just leave. So like seriously, like my wife's been sitting in the living room that's like 20 feet away from the door, and by the time she gets to the door, the dude's already back in the van, like gone. And like that's happened a few times. So like if that happens tomorrow, I'm going to like just put my face through a desk. Like it's just going to be bad news. So I want to leave a little note on the door being like, yo, someone's home. Just don't go anywhere. But she's like, no, don't be so ridiculous. Like if you don't get it tomorrow, I'm like, no, there's no if you don't. Like
put the note on the door.
Just put
the note on the door.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
See, this is I need you guys to just tell me.
Come inside. There's cookies.
Just leave the door open. Leave the Batman cookie jar like on the 100%.
Let me tell you how extra I was for the delivery of my monitor. So I'm watching our Ring camera and I see, there's activity in your carport. So I look and there's the guy hauling this ginormous box. And I said, all right, let me watch him as he's doing this. And then I was about to turn on the microphone to say, Be careful. Please set it gently on the porch. That was nearly the point where I was at. Thankfully, he set it down gently, and because Becky works from home, I messaged her right away. The monitor's there. It's on the side port.
Yeah, and this was already me. I was already up there grabbing it because I knew, because I got the same notification, and he had been bugging. Absolutely bugging. My monitor is supposed to be coming today. It's supposed to be coming today. Can you just keep checking the cameras? Can you make sure that you bring it in? I don't want this thing to be stolen. I was like, dude, this is a 49-inch monitor. First and foremost, it is not lightweight. Okay, let me just put that out there, because I've been the one that's been hauling in packages. Whenever, his desk arrived, whenever all of these things, I mean, I have died every time. Oh, and our mattress. I also lugged that in myself, which was not lightweight whatsoever. So I went out and I got his monitor, which I think is the lightest large purchase that he has made in a long time, brought it in the house, and then I see the message going, "Can you bring this inside?" "Yeah, already did it, babe. Gotcha. Don't worry."
You should have been like, "I just went out. There's nothing there."
Yeah. The funny thing is, I'm watching her
rattling.
lug it in, and then I switch from the camera from our carport to the camera in our dining room, watching her going, "Be careful.
Oh
careful.
my God.
Oh my God, Sonny, get out of there."
Amazing. Okay,
Yeah,
so it's good that I'm not that extra. So
No.
I'll make up a note after we record here.
No.
Your name's not Lee. Your name is not Lee. There is nothing extra about you.
Really? We're gonna go there?
No.
Well, we're going to transition now to news, and this might be part of the subject matter of mental health and video games.
So really, one of the things lately I've noticed, especially with the pandemic, is trying to connect with other people. It has been interesting. You've had to be really creative in the ways that you're doing it. And one thing we said as Phoenix Overdrive to begin with was that gamers know how to connect with people virtually. It's something we have done for years. We have developed friendships across continents, across country, found some local people even by accident that you've been playing with, and you didn't even know it until you start talking about where you are. So this article on CNN actually came up out of London in regards to analyzing players' well-being. They only analyzed a couple games. It wouldn't be what I would call a huge study as far as the sample of the people, but they really looked at Animal Crossing and Plants vs. Zombies, Battle for Neighborville, which clearly is not something I play because that did not roll off the tongue. But basically, the increase in playtime and everything, it helped improve mental health. And especially during a pandemic, when we're socially isolated, when we're not seeing our friends and family, even something that we've been doing, virtual game nights of different things such as, Jackbox games or like Among Us or whatever it is that we come up with, even an online version of Pictionary, which was really cool. It's been the way that we've connected, and actually something that recently we've done for our son, and actually was sponsored by my company, a certain voucher amount, was OutSchool. And this is a really cool platform for kids that it's not just video games. There's a myriad of subjects on there. But one of the things for him that we got him enrolled in was first an app design course. And now this one is a Minecraft social club for his age range. So weekly they have these meetups with this Minecraft social club. And not only is it helping him at his awkward age of 10 trying to figure out how to not be as socially awkward and connect, but it's connecting over a video game. So video games and mental health, we know from all of the years that we have played video games, this is a huge part to not only our identities, but also forming friendships, that you can't help but really see more now the connection between a good mental health and a good gaming community.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as much as video games have been villainized in the past. I think it's really good to see these kind of studies come out that we've known this as gamers. We've known this for years, that like you said, video games help us form friendships and help us get through things and, escape from reality or increase our reality when we can't see friends and family and that kind of stuff. And I've talked numerous times about everything I went through last year with grandparents passing away, and that made me fall in love with Anthem because I could literally just kind of fly in a suit of armor and get away from everything. Right to being able to play. My nephew just texted me, didn't know I was podcasting. We play every night. We're on different ends of the country. Not every night, but like pretty close, a few times a week, different ends of the country, and we can still connect through Fortnite. And that's our way of just sitting down. I ask him how school was. He asked me how work was. We just kind of shoot the shit and play some Fortnite. It's fantastic. So it is good to see legitimate studies backing up things that we've known for years.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's needed. It really is, especially. Yeah. Mental health is such a stigma, which is so funny because I was actually just on a mental health podcast a couple nights ago. So it's such a stigma that talking about that more and also talking about another subject like video games, that is such a stigma. It's two powerful tools that with enough emphasis, I think, can really make some positive changes in a time where we're in such the bottom of the barrel with mental health right now for a lot of people for many, many reasons.
Yeah, I mean, my wife had a birthday on Saturday. It was her 50th, and that is a huge milestone. And we were going to plan something big, but we used Zoom. Was like the best thing I did with my gaming laptop. We did Zoom, and I was a surprise to my wife. She thought she was just going to get a birthday surprise from a friend. Ended up being 30 of her friends from different tiers of life. It was fantastic. Oh, wow. And then we ended the call with Jackbox. Jackbox has been a godsend because guess what? Not everybody is into traditional video games, you think, but Jackbox is the perfect meeting of those worlds where it's easy to play. Everybody's got a cell phone. It's perfect for that. And I think that where people have, once they see that, are like, this is awesome. I want to play. And it just grows that. And then people learn about video games. So we even talked about, traditional board games and using technology to really get people together, like the House on Haunting Hill, different things like that, and using cameras and, what is it? Desktop Manager. What's the software that allows you to do basically tabletop gaming?
Tabletop Simulator?
That's what it is. I was close. Knew Lee would save me. But yeah, I mean, so I think this technology and getting people together, like people are going to, I think most of us in the States, social gathering for the holidays is just not going to happen. So how do you do it? You put iPads at the dinner table, people look at each other, you FaceTime.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're going to have to do.
That's what we're going to have to do. It's funny that you mentioned, as the pandemic was starting to really take hold, one of the things that Becky and I started to do was a weekly game night with our friends. The ones that we'd normally have over here at our house and say, okay, let's play this, that. So we started off with the online version of Cards Against Humanity, and then we started trickling in some of the more other more interesting games, I guess you want to call it that. One of them was we got our friends to download Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Perfect game.
And it was, at first they were like, okay, I'm not sure about this on the phone. I'm like, trust me, it'll work great on your phone. So, they got it on their phone and they got sucked in to the point where, it was guys versus girls, and we were all yelling at each other whenever we weren't doing things the right way. And it was just so much.
Most of the time, because we beat you many occasions. The girls team was just awesome.
The boys we just did not have it. I don't know what was going on. Normally, when we have like card nights, we'd have like guys versus girls, and there was a time there where the guys were just dominant with whatever card game. All of a sudden, pandemic hits. Boys, what are you doing? I said, my boys, what's going on? So
it was redemption.
Yeah, it was redemption. So yeah, no, definitely, it's been it's definitely taken a hold now in our society because people have realized video games aren't so bad. Yeah. Video games are actually fun. Like even the ones who are who stigmatized it so much, like how much what were the sales of Animal Crossing within that first 6 weeks?
Mm-hmm.
It was astounding. It was in the peak of the pandemic, and
I think it's already the second best selling Switch game or something like that. It's
something like that.
It's top 3. It's 20 something million. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's the perfect social game.
If only it actually had real voice chat, though.
Listen,
that's the problem with Nintendo. We can be social, but man, oh man, let's make it difficult.
God, we got to bring up that salty nature of Nintendo right there.
I know. I always have to comment on that, but yeah, it's perfect. I mean, I think, work parties. I'm in charge of the virtual entertainment for our holiday work party, so we're gonna have lots of fun games lined up. So it's really important that we entertain each other, and games break the ice because sometimes people feel really uncomfortable have small talk, and games can break the ice, so it's really important to do this. So yeah, I agree with this. Like I said, I met Ray Azorio on a line playing Destiny, and I trust a stranger when he could have called me a dumb noob, and that's how I met all you guys. Perfect. Yeah.
I'm going to have to bring that up to El Capitan. He's never talked down to the noobs.
No, he never has. He was super nice. He brought me along, and he's always mentioned that he'd be my Sherpa anytime, and I appreciate that. So, yeah. So some people just feel like I feel socially awkward when I game with people because I always feel like, oh, do I have to say something? If I start talking, I can't talk and play video games at the same time. I'm horrible. It's like chewing gum and doing that. My brain doesn't work. So that's where I'm like, it's so good to have people that are just very welcoming and allow you to be horrible as they put you on their shoulder and carry you.
She and I game together, and we bring other people in who's never gamed with us. They are shocked at how we speak to each other, and I'm going, that's normal. I still love her. Oh my God, she's the best thing in the world. But when we're gaming, we're not married.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. There's no marriage in Overcooked.
No.
Any game. Doesn't matter.
You should have heard the language.
That's why
you should have heard the language on Overcooked. Oh my gosh! Like
we were playing that.
The two of us with our 2 kids were playing all Overcooked together, and there was this one level that the kids were just not listening. And I think I blew a gasket at that point because I yelled at both kids. I said, "Would you just bleep and bleep, 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 and you bleep, bleep, bleep?" And they're like, "Yes, Daddy."
Yeah. He blows gaskets. Can you imagine? I mean, there's no temper in that background at all. None whatsoever.
So I think what we've learned is video games can bring out the best and maybe worst. The worst.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, with that, we do have a return to form of a oft-forgotten pioneer in PC performance. Big Red,
Team Red.
That's right.
Team Red,
yeah, I mean, they had a resurgence back in the Athlon days. They took the performance crown, and I don't know if they got lazy, what happened, but Intel came back, and now we've got AMD has been really the heart of modern-day consoles. They're back again, powering the consoles, but they are now back in with not only fantastic CPUs, but GPUs. And that is something NVIDIA does not have, and I think that's why they got ARM.
Well, that's exactly it. ARM is going to probably be NVIDIA's entry into the CPU space. But with what's been going on this year for PC gaming as a whole, we had that September announcement by NVIDIA to bring in, to bring out Ampere as an architecture and the RTX 3000 line, which it's a phenomenal card, but it's just, where's the stock? It's not available. You can't buy it anywhere. And the same thing too with AMD is now here they are with their CPU lineup, it just absolutely destroying Intel. The top to bottom, their Intel has nothing to show up for. they have nothing to deliver. And that's very disheartening because in the PC space, I've always been the type of person to say we want competition. We want these two companies to go at each other. We want them to push the limit of each other. And AMD has just taken such a lead when it came to the CPU space that even their mid-level CPU that they just released is potentially beating Intel's top of the line. I mean, that tells you something. That's just an insane performance that it's coming out of a mid-level CPU that it's taking on their top of the line. So the other, as you mentioned, the other part to AMD's resurgence now is that they finally put out a GPU that is noteworthy, that is capable of going toe to toe with NVIDIA. And I think one of the most intriguing parts of the whole thing is the fact that they have made it so the CPU and the GPU are kind of molding together into this with this ability to push out the most incredible performance on PC from both sides. So, with NVIDIA seeing this, the funny thing is they actually reverse engineered the whole thing kind of and are saying, we can do this too. And not just with Intel CPUs, but also with AMD CPUs. I mean, this is just this is the type of I guess not combat, but just the type of situation where you want them to compete with each other because they're putting it out there and they're hitting all these numbers that are just insane when it comes to performance. I mean, you're looking at the performance at 1080p, at 1440, at 4K, and you're seeing frame rates up into 200s, and it's just wild, like absolutely wild. And I for one am very excited because I had to get a temporary upgrade to my main gaming rig because my previous processor, which is more of a workstation processor, it's more for content creation than anything, it was starting to show its inabilities to do things. So a week before Extra Life, I said to Becky, well, looks like I got to upgrade my motherboard and CPU right before game day. She goes, really? Are you kidding me? Why? Why does this happen every time?
It's always timing with Extra Life, whether it's a cracked motherboard or, whatever. We had, I think it was bad RAM one year. No. There were so many different things that just...
And then, I had to tell her, I told her this with this upgrade, I said, I'm not sure if this is going to work with what setup I have with my current setup. And she goes, well, why? I said, well, I have 4 of those NVMe drives, and I don't know if it's going to recognize all 5 at once. And so I had to calculate. I said, wait, I think I might be able to make this work if I put, one NVMe drive here, one here, one here, one here. I get all 4. I think it might work. So finally, I get it all hooked up. And she heard me from the basement yell, oh, my God, it works.
I was almost ready to tell him to upgrade his case and go to the dual, 2-in-1 PC. But that's because I'm an enabler.
Well, a PC had a PC. My PC's got a baby inside.
That's basically it. So, I was able to get all 4 of my NVMe drives. So I have my 8 terabyte RAID 0 drive that's just blazing fast. So anytime I install a game to it,
I ever tell you,
done.
PCs are a bad investment. Bad investment.
It's not for me though. I don't believe they're a bad investment because this is something that's going to last me longer.
No, it's not. You're going to upgrade in a year.
Wow. Okay, for the general, that's because I'm a madman. For the general user, for the general use case scenario.
We need to look at my PC for that because, whenever there's an upgrade or a change or something to that effect, it's always future-proofed. But I have to say for the normal person looking at my computer, it really is a phenomenal investment because I really don't have to do much to it. And I can play everything on it. No console required. Well, except for needing a PlayStation to stream games
when you remote play
my computer. Yeah, right. I do. I remote play all the time. I'm terrible. The consoles are there, but I remote play.
See, and I'm the opposite. So I used to build my own PCs, but typically you have a lot of different parts from different manufacturers, warranties. There's a lot of time invested in that. I got my most recent laptop, which is I love it. But Lee, I was trying to do AMD, but the problem was the limiter was the Ryzen mobile chips did not support anything higher than a RTX 2060.
If you're looking at the Ryzen, the 4000 series, for the laptops, I do believe they have a limitation when it comes to their PCIe lanes. But again, you got an RTX 2060?
2070. I got the 2070.
You got a 2070?
2070. I love it. It's a great laptop.
Is it a
super? Right in my price range. It's the Max Q because I wanted a thin and I wanted it light. I didn't want to be lugging around a 10-pound laptop. So
you mean my MSI laptop that I
exactly, yeah.
my hardcore gaming laptop. that's not light.
But I love the fact that was now an option. So I love that that's now an option. And the laptop I have is now, reason I have a laptop is because I realized a Series X was not going to ever support VR, and that's what I wanted it for. So my Oculus Quest, I can do VR. My old laptop was a limiter because of the 1060, which was at the min spec for Half-Life Alyx.
VR with my 2080 Ti. It's just insane.
It's got to be crazy.
My gosh. I was just playing I was playing Project Cars on it. Project Cars 2. And I sat here and I'm going, I'm driving a car. Oh my God. It was insane. And then playing Elite Dangerous on it too was just phenomenal. I mean, as a space sim, that was just ridiculous with the graphical fidelity that I experienced on VR. So,
just as a spoiler alert, Todd, we're going to have a very fun project coming up very soon. Speaking of VR, and you know how our house is, we're all four of us are PC. So just wait. Stay tuned for that funness.
I don't know if you've got it, but I have the Oculus Quest 1 going wirelessly with VR. I use virtual desktop streaming. So much better than the link cable. It's my shoulder heals. I will play more. AMD is powering this next generation consoles. Switch is the only one on NVIDIA hardware.
The thing with NVIDIA too is their entire architecture is powered by such a ridiculous AI system that it is my feeling, and this is kind of a segue into Mark's section about the Nintendo Switch, is that the next iteration of the Switch, whatever it may be, you might be looking at that being an Ampere-powered device because they have everything literally in the cloud. It's an AI cloud system that is just powering everything in Ampere. And, you might be looking at literally the most powerful Nintendo console coming up soon. Because of what NVIDIA has been able to create as far as architecture. And the funny thing is, this is not their greatest work yet, because coming up after Ampere is what's called Hopper, which is going to be a multi-chiplet architecture. So whatever they have coming out for that, I will be amazed by it, because they're known for their ability to really go above and beyond what is expected out of them.
Amazing. Yeah. We actually talked about the cloud gaming benefits of the next Switch and LTE and that kind of stuff. Little curveball with this next story is Nintendo actually launched the top-rated new console of the holiday season, according to IGN. And that new console is the 35th anniversary edition Super Mario Brothers Game & Watch.
I had the Game & Watches years ago when I was a little kid.
What's this cost in the States? $50, $40, something like that. $50. Yeah. I think 60 up here. And according to IGN, I just thought this was hilarious because there's new, $500, $600 consoles, depending on where you are or whatever, that are launching, and they're the most powerful consoles, the fanciest things, the biggest, best, brightest. And Nintendo launches this little thing with Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 2, The Lost Levels, and Ball. If you remember the Game & Watch, it's just ball. You're just juggling a couple of balls. So they did that. It's also a clock. Todd has one right here.
I love it.
Mine should actually arrive possibly tomorrow, so I will get it around the same time as my Xbox Series X. And I can't wait to try this thing. But according to IGN, the Xbox Series S got a 7 out of 10. The Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5 got an 8 out of 10. And this Game & Watch scored a 9 out of 10. So it is IGN's top-rated new video game hardware of the holiday season, and I thought that was delightful. So that's it, short and sweet. New consoles. Kind of leads into the bonus round, though.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I would not give it that high of a score. I've got one right here, guys. Okay. First of all, it's not even a watch. It's like a clock.
It's a clock.
So
yeah.
It's that's the first lie. It doesn't have it doesn't even have alarm setting. So folks, this thing is pretty basic in regards to the time telling. So Nintendo, there's no stand. If you're gonna have a clock, it needs to have a stand.
Here you go, Todd. I've got a stand for you.
I was just gonna say I'm ordering a stand for mine just because I want that as my bedside clock.
That was like something that my mom would carry in her purse for me because, you know, I was like a 6 or 7 year old with a Game & Watch walking around. She didn't want me to lose it. Mm-hmm. But that was, I mean, God, the memories of playing on that were just, Britt takes me back.
Which one did you have?
You're going to have to find one.
I had the one, it was the guy juggling back and forth like pies or flaming, I think.
Is it the Juggler or something like that? Mario the Juggler or something like that, right?
I think so, yeah. And my wife had the octopus one, and I ended up finding her little keychain version that was solar powered.
Yep. Those
awesome
were the days.
Yeah, I can't wait for mine to arrive. I actually said if the Xbox got delayed anymore, and this is why I'm kind of blaming my Xbox problems on Canada Post. Although, you know, Best Buy Canada is a little bit to blame for not shipping them out sooner. But I wanted to do an experiment, and I ordered my Game & Watch from Best Buy as well because I don't learn. I ordered that Friday from them, but it went pure later, so it might arrive tomorrow as well. So I ordered my Xbox back in September. I ordered this on Friday, and they might arrive the same day, and that's just staggering.
Look at the little flap right there, Mark. It says, it says special thanks to you. It's little Mario.
So many little Easter eggs and stuff, and even just in the packaging, it's got great fanfare. That was one of the things that got it highly rated on IGN. And you know, with IGN's scale, you have to kind of keep in mind that they're comparing this as a $50 item, not comparing it really like, you know, power scale wise to that. So this story is definitely a bit, you know, reductionist and really just played up for the laughs. But I just got a big kick out of that, seeing these 3 little video game hardware reviews being like 8, 9. So it was I just got a good kick out of that. But that does lead us into the bonus round, right, Todd?
It does. So we've talked about everybody, you know, jumping on board. We've had some, you know, comedy of errors and people getting their consoles. Some Xbox Series X apparently have started taking up vaping, which is very weird. Come on, kids, stay off the vape. And consoles, like I mentioned with PlayStation, some of its limitations, they're always kind of iffy at launch because they're great, but they're going to be better eventually, cheaper. And so that's why a lot of people don't jump on board. They're like, I have a pile of games. I'm a PC gamer. Why would I need this? And Becky and Lee didn't upgrade. So we wanted kind of their opinion on this too. So but one of the things I wanted to cover is kind of like the main arguments why people don't upgrade at launch, Mark. And you and I were talking about this. We're kind of like, yeah, because typically there's 2, it would say excuses why you don't. So I'll go over the first one. You go over the second one.
Sure.
They're waiting for a price drop. So for some reason, people think the price will drop within 6 months, a year. So I did a little investigation. The only console I could find that really dropped right away was the 3DS. And that console, that was a handheld program for $250 and dropped $70 like 6 months in. That is a rarity, though.
Mm-hmm.
Last gen, which we can call it now, PS4 took 2 years and finally dropped $50. That system was on fire and really didn't have a need to. And the only reason they did that was because I think they were leaning the supply chain down because they eventually launched a Slim and a PS4 Pro.
And really, it's only a $50 drop. Like, that's not even a full game.
No.
That's a $50 price drop. 2 years. Like, that is crazy when you think about it. Like, if you're saying, no, I don't want to justify the price, it'll drop eventually, and you wait 2 years at thinking like, you know, like, who doesn't get $50 worth in 2 years of a console? Like, if you're thinking, you know, dollar per hour played or whatever, however you shake it down, like, the math just does not work for that one.
Yeah, I mean, and something that's common these days now, at least we can say with this generation, typically these systems launch with very limited libraries. So you'd say, I'm waiting for the library to grow. This generation, you really don't have that excuse anymore because they play everything from the last gen, which is essentially a Game Pass
and beta.
Or PS Now, and that gets you a ton of games for free, and you can play them better. So it's like, we've kind of taken another opportunity to disrupt that conversation, especially if you missed out. A lot of people missed out on this gen too. But with Xbox One, 7 months after they launched at $500, they dropped $100. But how did they do that, Mark?
Remove everyone's favorite accessory, the Kinect.
So Just Dance, or what was the game? Everybody Dance Now.
There's the mountain climbing one.
Yes.
Where you stood in your living room doing this like a drunk mime cat.
Didn't EA do some type of like fitness thing?
Sure.
I think that was the mountain climbing one that I'm miming right now, even though this is an audio only podcast and it's only you three that can see me doing my hands up and down.
You look like
an
a
idiot.
happy cat, Mark. You look like the happy cat doing his paw.
Yeah, there you go. Only with two hands.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's the other example is the Switch. There's been no price drop on Switch. They've added bundles and done other things, but still, almost 4 years later, they're still at $300 for the system they launched with some tweaks.
Wild. Absolutely wild. Yeah, there was that slight it was a battery and maybe slight processing increase, but nothing major. They still haven't fixed drift, for God's sake. And they only bundle on special occasions. I mean, if you go out and get a normal Switch, 9 times out of 10, you're still they'll do Black Friday deals and they'll throw in Super Mario Kart, which is a 56-year-old game at this point, that launched on the Wii U. Switch is just getting away with it, and we keep saying every year. We keep saying, oh yeah, no, this will be the new consoles are launching, or they're launching this big thing. The Switch can't keep up. They'll have to do a big price drop. It never happens, and they keep selling more Switches than ever before. So it's just wild.
Absolutely. Nintendo typically doesn't drop the price of their games either. Maybe there'll be some sales. Beyond that, you cannot wait until those games get cheaper because you'll be waiting forever. Eventually, they will launch the Player's Choice line or whatever. Mm-hmm. Typically 3 to 4 years later after the console launches, you can get those games for like $20 or whatever. So that may happen too. So Becky and Lee, what is your rationale? I mean, we're going to go into other reasons, but is price an issue right now?
I wouldn't say it's price, considering what we spend on PC parts. I just want to put that out there. Price, not that we're, money bags at all. I mean, we work hard for what we get. But it's... I think it's more like
they're making it rain.
Oh my God, he's ridiculous. I think the big thing for us is just really... We're not a big fan of launch to begin with, because there's always so many issues. There's so many updates. There's so many different things that all of a sudden they're like, oops, our consoles are smoking. Hazardous to your health. Sorry about your loss there. Or, whatever the case may be. We never really have been day one launch people, because we have been so historically PC, especially for me. I mean, my consoles, I hate to say it, they really are mainly my PlayStation. There to stream it to my PC more than play it on my console, just because of that remote play. And the sad part is it looks better on my computer than it does on the TV, just because of, the way that it comes across, and it changes the look of it. So for the PlayStation especially, without any game that really draws me to PlayStation 5, my PlayStation 4 is perfectly fine, and I'm remote playing it on my computer, which is making it look better. And with the backwards compatibility, I mean, that's great for somebody who doesn't want to lose their library of games, but for somebody who already has the PlayStation 4 to upgrade, it's not really worth it. There's not that grab, and I think that's my big issue is, it doesn't have that exclusive that you have to get the newest version of the console, and that's something I think we've been really clamoring for years, is to get that exclusive that just makes you want to run out and get that system. There is no holding back, but that may also be nostalgia of how competitive the video game market used to be in comparison to now. So it really isn't price. It's just I can do it on my PC with the current gen. Well, I'm sorry. Now it's the prior gen console. And That's it. Switch, Nintendo is a different story. I mean, that's just different. That's a different story. That's a different feeling. It's a different nostalgia. I mean, I will sit there and play on the Switch, no question, for quite a while until I kill the thing. But the PlayStation or the Xbox, that's really if there's a game that we want to play together as a family, that's usually when we touch that. And it's usually hockey or Overcooked.
So I'm going to ask a question. PC rarely has the new game, though, I would say, except for VR. I think VR is like the game changer on PC. It's been MMOs, maybe some tactical games, but there really aren't many exclusive only games you can play on PC that really stress the hardware. There's some that are VR. I would say VR is the main thing. So you guys do upgrade your PCs quite a lot, but it seems like there's not a game that's driving that behavior. I can play that game from like 2015 at a higher resolution. It's a better performance, but it's not necessarily the new experience. PC doesn't really innovate on controllers. It's still keyboard and mouse primarily. It's not typically dealing with vibration or other inputs. So that's why I'm thinking PC, it's VR. Really, that's where that's going the next level, because Xbox isn't doing VR. PlayStation does VR, but it's really the worst way to play VR in certain ways. So that's why I upgraded my PC, because I want VR to be better.
I think that really it I understand that perspective completely. But when you're talking about a game that I had never played on a console, which was Horizon Zero Dawn, because I was like, meh, okay, it's a cute game, but graphically it could have been done so much better. And then when I saw it released on PC, and I was like, okay, all right, back the truck up. Now I'm going to play this game, because there's a difference between releasing it on every platform and choking your PC back on a lower resolution, because of the fact that they need to keep it at a lower resolution so as not to make the console players feel bad. And I don't mean that in like, I'm sorry, I'm trying not to be mean.
No, that's okay, because the hardware is 7 years old.
I think that's my thing, is I know what the capabilities are with a well-built computer that has newer technology and how much more amazing it can look. Like I said, Ghost of Tsushima, I play it remotely for that reason. It is a gorgeous game, absolutely gorgeous, no matter where you're playing it. But you throw it even through remote play on the computer, and just the way that it comes across, the way that my monitor portrays not only that story audio-wise, but visually, is just breathtaking. The game itself is breathtaking. I mean, I can't say that enough. But just seeing it on my PC monitor and seeing it with my PC processing, part of it, even though it is a remote connection, is just gorgeous, and I enjoy it so much more. Or even first-person shooters. To be honest, when it comes to a controller, forget it. I suck.
Mouse is fantastic, but I feel like keyboard is not ergonomic. Well, it's all digital input. It's not analog. It's too many more buttons to input. So I stopped playing first-person shooters. I'm like, my hands are hurting. Keyboards were never designed for gaming. I hate keyboards for gaming. You have to do multiple inputs to get the same input on a control.
But that's more to a historical experience than anything, because, I mean, for us, this is natural. It's just a natural feel for it. I mean, I will sit here and I can just lean back, put my hand on my keyboard, and I'd feel fine. But when you put my hand on a controller, it's different for me. It's much more different. With a keyboard, you throw in any game, and I am happy to play on my WASD with my pinky on my control key, with my thumb on my space bar, and I'm good to go. I'm absolutely good to go.
I hate it. It makes my hands hurt.
And that's so funny, because when we were playing like Brawlhalla, just a couple rounds, my hands are cramping up from the console. See, I used to play piano. I have the natural bubble because the piano playing. So when I'm holding onto my mouse or my keyboard, I naturally have that bubble hand gesture. But you turn that bubble hand gesture sideways, and, I feel like the guy from Scary Movie that has the really small hand. That's me with a controller. It doesn't matter. I do better on the PlayStation, but I still cramp up severely. It's different. And I think it also has to do with where your hand strength is. Like if you've historically played on console and you've been used to that position and your muscles in your hands are doing that on a regular basis, that's a different story. My thumbs are weak. Okay. I've got weak thumbs. You probably win against me in a thumb war because of that, because of the console and all of the different sticks versus, on my PC, it's spacebar. Woo, that's a big role in my life. And then holding the side of my mouse. It's just, I think a lot of it has to do with the different strengths and also where you're comfortable. But I grew up on PC gaming. That is my home. I think it's always going to be my home in that regard, just because I'm so much more comfortable. I feel personally like I have so much more precision because of those extra inputs that have to be done. I'm controlling it in a way that I understand it, and comparatively to that controller where I feel like I have 10 times less control.
Oh, really?
Just because it's already pre-mapped a lot of the information. You can't.
She and I historically, like the one game that I will continue to cite as the game that really just defined the keyboard for me is World of Warcraft. And that was because for my character, literally had to remember 30 or 40 different spells. So I had to keybind all of them. And the thing is, I created macros, and it's what allowed me to kind of be very familiar with my keyboard and for me to be in sync with it. And the thing is, I see it, and it's just a natural existence. It is an extension of my hand for me. So, if I just closing my eyes, I'm thinking to myself, all right, if I hit Control 1, that's for my, as I like to call it, my God mode for my hunter. Or Control 2 is to summon my pet. Control 3 is to heal my pet. Control 4 is to, do this or that. It just, the whole thing it's a natural extension of my hand, and therefore, for me, a controller, yeah, it's great. I love controller for things like sports games or like platformers, but keyboard and mouse has to be where I need to be when it comes to shooters, when it comes to MMOs, when it comes to RTSs.
Yeah, RTS makes sense. Yeah, definitely.
That I showed Becky how I did it on keyboard with StarCraft, and she was just, that makes a lot of sense to do it that way. Key binding my units, key binding my bases, things of that nature. So no, I get it. I get the difficulty with keyboard and mouse. It's not for everybody.
The other reasons people wait for a revision. So Mark, take us through how revisions did last generation.
Yeah, so last gen we saw a few different revisions. We already talked about the Switch one, which was 30 months, a little over 2 years. You had the Switch Lite and the better battery switch, so that took a little while, but not too much when you compared it to the other consoles. So PS4 saw a revision 3 years later with the PS4 Slim and the PS4 Pro. Xbox One saw a revision in 3 years with the One S, and then 4 years with the Xbox One X, which we're definitely seeing as kind of a stopgap mid jump upgrade kind of thing. So if you're waiting for a revision, again, those kind of they don't always come with a price drop. If you're waiting for hardware revisions, like right now we're at this point where you can play games on an Xbox One or a base PS4 or whatever, your old stuff. But we've said this time and time again, like we're all waiting for that game a few games that are saying, this is only going to run on PS5. This is only going to run on the Xbox Series. When those games are going to come sooner than 3 years. So if that's your, if they're doing the same kind of timeline for a revision, you're going to miss out on probably a year, maybe 2 years of exclusive gaming, which is fine. I mean, if you want to wait that long and then you have a built-in library, that's a great way to go. For someone like me, I can't wait to get my new shiny new hardware and take advantage of all that stuff. But there's definitely no right or wrong answer, but if that's your only excuse is waiting for a revision, unless you're worried about early adopter or malfunctions, which we've seen Red Ring of Death. Don't remind me about all that kind of stuff. Smoking units, whatever. Consoles going to the bad side of town and vaping with all the street use. It's risky, right? So there's pros and cons either way you look at it.
Yeah, in this instance, the systems didn't always get cheaper, and they didn't get markedly that better. Mm-hmm. Sometimes they lose things. Like I think the PS4 Slim lost a couple USB ports. The Xbox One S, it did improve performance a little bit, added a 4K drive, so that was a good thing. But with the Xbox One X, made things a lot better. But you were back at $500. So it was a scenario where waiting a long time, 4 years into a generation, to wait to upgrade. But jump in where you want.
I mean, and that's where I jumped into Xbox this generation. You know, I had PlayStation, and that was great. And then I saw the One X, and I said, that's what I need. I want that. I want to experience this super powerful console, and I figured I'd be upgrading sooner rather than later to these new ones. But, that was, again, where I decided to jump in and then was able to sell my One X for a decent amount of money to go towards the Series X. So it still retains some value. So, for me, this generation on the Xbox side, that was a great time to jump in for me. And I enjoyed the hell out of the PS4 closer to launch.
Yeah, and the good thing about these consoles now, you can always, you can do it like we do, Mark. Sometimes we upgrade and we benefit others with the old consoles. We share, we sell at a cheaper price, or your kids get them, which is nice. Or it's kind of neat with the PlayStation 5. Your PlayStation 4, you can basically stream your PS5 to your PS4. So like what Rebecca does with streaming, Xbox does the same thing too, which is really cool. I don't know if you guys have ever done that before, where you can stream your Xbox to your PC as well. Guys, the good news is these new consoles will support keyboard and mouse.
Well, here's the thing. We already use keyboard and mouse on the other consoles, so
perfect. You're already there. Yeah. Yes.
No, I think as far as the revisions, that's never been a thing for us. Like we've never gone, I'm going to wait. I think the one thing that holds me back is obviously COVID sucks. Okay. COVID sucks, period, for so many reasons. Usually when we're getting hyped for new releases is E3. And this year just kind of obviously fell flat. They did their own little things, but any of those gaming shows were not what they normally are. And I think for us, that's what killed the hype. So I'm hoping that this next year, being optimistic here with things turning around, or at least people getting a better grasp on virtual, we're going to get an E3-ish of the years past, I hope, where that hype comes in, so that more people understand from the perspective of, okay, this is why you want to upgrade, or guess what we're doing. This is what's going to make you upgrade. That's what I'm optimistically hoping for, because I want it to be another year of being that huge gaming year. Like we said that a couple years ago, this was the best year of games. And then it kind of felt like, okay, once we hit that mark, it wasn't so great. Like there were great things that came out, but you hit that high and it was like, okay, what do we do now? So I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen with the new consoles being released. I'm hoping that there's going to be some severe hype. Maybe we'll finally get certain games that have been delayed for about a decade at this point in time, Cyberpunk. And
Jesus, that was salty. Oh my God.
You're right. 9 years and counting.
Yeah, but that's my hope. That's my hope that I think that's a big reason why at a launch we're not seeing as much hype from some of us that are more hesitant, and I'm hoping to see that hype does return, so that Lee can come home one day going, oh, by the way, guess what we're getting.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be fun. And the good news is with you guys with Game Pass, you're kind of covered for the Xbox games. If you've got it, so you're good to go. Series X, though, is a great opportunity to play your games on TV. And if that option is there too, or the S, and it's a great gift for a kid for $300. And so that is it for the show. Let us know what you're thinking about upgrading. Are you holding out? Why are you doing it? And if you are, let us know. We want to hear about it. Mark, before we tell people how they can do that, but before we leave, tell the people here how they can support you and the good work that you do.
Take it away, dear. This is not me. This is you.
Okay. Well, first of all, you guys can check out our website, phoenixoverdrive.com/2020-raffles. That has our three big raffles going on this year. One is a PS5 console, which is a disc edition. The other one is a Series X. And we also have a Nintendo Switch Lite Gray bundle, which includes an extra set of Joy-Cons and a 128 gig micro SD card that we're throwing in there. So definitely a nice package that we have. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Phoenix Overdrive, where you can find out all of our Extra Life activities. Fundraising is going on until December 31st this year, so head to our group page and find somebody that you'd like to donate to. I know there's still a few people who are still working at it. We've got a couple incentives for them. Our top fundraiser of the year will be rewarded with a Nintendo Switch, the newer one with the better battery, also with an extra set of Joy-Cons. So, nice prize right there for them. At the moment, I do believe one Mr. Sean Capri is leading the pack with over $2,300 raised. We've got a couple of other couple people in our team who were coming up. They're around $1,100-ish or so. Let's see, Matt Knight, Mr. Skinny Matt, he's coming in at about $850. So we're getting people still fundraising throughout the year. So my hope is that we hit the $11,000 mark, which will surpass what we did in 2019, and that was with an actual game day event. So if we can get to 11,000, then everything that we've had to go through this year, will be not worth it. But it'll just make it so this was a successful event in our eyes. We're almost there. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks or so, we'll break that number. I don't have a podcast of ours to shill right now because we're on hiatus yet again. We gotta get that thing all squared away.
Invite this man on your podcast, or invite Becky and leave Lee behind.
She's been to more like frequent podcast guests lately because nobody likes me anymore.
No, I it's a different perspective.
It is,
especially considering, like I said, the last one I just did 2 days ago was mental health. Being a mental health podcast. So I have turned into a serial podcast guest. I have enjoyed it immensely because I don't have to plan anything out, nor do I have to come up with the topic or the script. I just show up, smile, and do what I do best, talk.
She doesn't have to deal with me or Ray at the same time.
That too. I don't have to, mom them. So it's great.
Well, thank you both for being on. You do great work. And once again, we support you, and we've been hyping you guys up in the work you do. So thank you for being on. It's been a pleasure.
You both do know that if next year there's no COVID, you both are expected to come down here.
I almost drove down last year.
I know. Except, you had the pregnant wife and, Disney trip.
Yep. That stuff happens. But hopefully, fingers crossed.
I've never been to New York, and I would love to go. So, yes, we will try to make that happen in 2021. So, Mark, if they want to reach out to these fine folks and us, well, how would they do that?
Well, you can find us on Twitter at @co_op_mode_pod, @toxtra, and @the_Canardian. You can also find us on the Facebook group and page Secret Friends Unite. You can call the hotline if you'd like to. Leave a little message, leave your experience with next gen or new gen or whatever you want to call it, gaming or anything else that we've covered on the show or that you want us to cover. 872-225-2496, and subscribe to our other shows. If you're listening to this on the solo feed, which is new, you can find over at thecanardian.com. You can find the full Secret Friends Unite network, including this show, Secret Friends Unite, Code 47, and all that kind of good stuff on any podcast service out there. Pretty much, I think we're pretty much everywhere.
Worldwide,
Mr. Worldwide.
That's right. Yes, I believe he likes our show too. So with that, thank you once again, Lee and Becky, for being on. Mark, always a pleasure. With that, those folks, just remember, it's always better to game together.
This was a triumph. I'm making a note here, huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction. Aperture science. We do what we must because we can. For the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. But there's no sense crying over every mistake. You just keep on trying till you run out of cake. And the it inside. Maybe you'll find someone else to help you. Maybe Black Mesa. That was a joke.